What's up? It's Avery Apps, the oldest Zoomer. Gambling is fucking changed, man. It's like I can't open my phone without Kevin Hart trying to get me to gamble in some advertisement. But this isn't a video where I'm gonna try to convince you to quit gambling now. It's ruining your life. You probably already know gambling is ruining your life. If you're facing financial self-destruction because of your gambling addiction, there's places you can go, there's a gambling hotline you can call, and I'd suggest you do that because you don't want to ruin your life because of gambling. So if you're willing to throw the dice on a gambling-neutral video, towards the end, I'm going to be discussing how I've lost tens of thousands of dollars gambling. So I don't do it anymore. Shit, I don't even buy a scratch ticket at the gas station. But I still love when people give me a scratch ticket on birthdays or Christmas as a gift, which is a weird gift, by the way. It's kind of like they're saying, hey, why don't you start gambling again? I have that toxic mentality where I'll win $100 on a scratch ticket, and then I'll feel disappointed because I didn't win the 10 million that's advertised at the top. When I go in to scratch a scratch ticket, I'm in an all or nothing mode, which I'm well aware is the worst mentality to have. It seems like the winners are the people who don't really care if they win or not. They're just playing for fun, whatever that means. It goes without saying that our generation faces what is, in my opinion, the worst gambling epidemic that has ever happened to any generation. It's not your grandfather's casino anymore. Everybody has a casino in their back pocket in the form of phone apps. And that's resulted in a perfect storm for people who are already inclined to have that gambling itch. It's like the opportunity to gamble is just one phone unlock away. You already know the trope. You open the app and then you're in the casino. Gone are the days when you'd take a family vacation to Vegas to gamble and you could blow your mortgage and junior's college fund at the roulette table while the kids are busy in the arcade. This is the future, and that means you can lose money from the comfort of your own bathroom on your phone in desperation, trying to win back that roulette that you just lost $20 on. Play again, maybe you'll win the second coin toss. Something never really sat right with me about gambling against an app. I mean, the app is clearly designed to profit the developers, so when you do the coin toss, it's not like you're playing a real game of chance, even though the app would like to convince you so. You're really just taking a chance seeing if you'll be allowed to win. If somebody in the comments could make it make sense, like what's the selling point of the algorithm and how are people so convinced that they actually have a chance to win? I'm talking beyond human psychology. I'm talking on a legal level. These mainstream gambling apps must have had to at one point prove that the users do have a chance to win. Of course, betting on something like a sports game is a different animal entirely. I'm talking those games of chance on the apps never really sat right with me because the house always wins. It's a tale as old as time, and it hasn't changed a bit since the days of the IRL casino. The player is allowed to win a certain amount of times so that they stay addicted and keep playing. The more things change, the more they stay the same. The game isn't different, it's just that the delivery system is optimized. You can bet on anything using your phone now. My buddy made money off the past 3 presidential elections, all from the comfort of his own home. Gone are the days when, if you wanted to gamble on something random, you had to place your bets with some shady bookie you'd meet in a back alley, or you'd meet him on Craigslist, and they'd break your legs if you didn't pay up. Now the system is streamlined. You just use your Apple Pay, and it's connected to your credit card. So if you don't pay up, your credit goes to shit and your car gets repoed. It couldn't be easier to lose everything chasing that big win. And that's the point, isn't it? What if I win? Nobody gambles to lose. People look out at the apocalyptic joke of a world we live in, and suddenly DraftKings looks like the way out. The mentality is that all you need is that big win, and all your problems will be solved because you'll be rich, and then you can stop gambling, buy a Hellcat, and live the rest of your days all dripped out as a high roller in Miami. The Zoomers gamble the most, more than any generation before them. The iPad generation has been propagandized by influencers who cut deals with these gambling apps to draw people in and make it look like 10xing your lunch money is as easy as downloading an app. Young audiences watch influencers they know from TikTok wager enough money to buy a house, live for hundreds of thousands of onlookers, glorifying gambling and ingraining it in the minds of the upcoming generation as the way to get rich and famous quick. And then the gambling influencers flex the expensive shit they buy all over social media, so it adds insult to injury for people who are losing money on these apps. It's like, oh, I could buy a Bugatti if I just gamble more. And on top of that, you see the gambling influencers hanging out with legitimate mainstream celebrities and being handed the keys to the kingdom, essentially the upper class welcoming them into the fold. You see gambling influencers meeting politicians, all while branding it with that special flavor of, oh, I did this so effortlessly. All you need to do is download the popular app and then you could have all this. You could be a member of the upper echelon. The pipeline is simple and in place. Influencers go from being gamers to gamblers. 1 minute they're playing Fortnite, and then the next stream they're playing online poker. And plenty of time these influencers are sponsored by the gambling apps themselves, so they're given a certain amount of money each month to gamble with, and sometimes the game is rigged in their favor so they can have more interesting streams. And that obviously leaves an impression on the audience that it's easier to make money on these apps than in reality you're actually going to lose a ton of money and you're going to regret playing them and be paying it off for the rest of your life, especially if you're playing at the level that a lot of these influencers are. I mean, they want their streams to be interesting, so of course they're going to be betting thousands of dollars at a time, and plenty of these gambling apps are designed exactly to replicate the experience somebody has when they play a mobile game. So there's a very clear business strategy going on here where kids growing up playing these mobile games reach the age of 18, and then it's like a seamless move over to the gambling apps. I mean, adults play mobile games just as much, if not more, than the younger generation. I mean, they play them at work all the time. So you have these adults getting this dopamine hit while their brain kind of thinks that they're playing a game, but in reality they're losing money. And of course, having money involved makes everything more interesting. Bright visuals, sound effects, and near wins get people hooked every time. I mean, why would an app developer not include a simple credit card processor associated with the numbers people are winning in these games? Seems like a no-brainer and an easy way to make money. And a little lesser known fact about gambling apps is that they reward engagement more so than they reward winning. So it's a combination of all the slimy practices that these app developers implement to keep people addicted to their products, and then on top of it, they're picking your pockets for the love of it. It's crazy times we live in, man. I mean, gambling used to be a social event. People would leave the house and drive down to the casino to do their gambling. Now they're just doing it in an antisocial environment in their living room, maybe laying in bed doing their gambling. I mean, the vibe of the casino used to be peak. You'd go there, light up a cigarette, the guy at the door would know your name, and all that's gone by the wayside now. The casinos have found out a hack. They could get right to your wallet without having to provide any of the flair. They don't even give you a free drink. You know, the apps don't give you a free hotel if you're a high roller. You just play the app, you either win or lose your money, then you close the app and walk back to your normal existence. And this is a particular danger to gambling addicts as well. I mean, the impulse to gamble could hit at any time, and all you need to do is find a secluded area somewhere where you can make a few bets, lose a few dollars, and then get back to your regular life or go back to work at your job. I mean, it serves as a placeholder for any time you want to gamble, you could do it right there and then. And that's one of the main ways we're gambling differently than we were in the past. The new generation of gambling is completely optimized by big tech. In the same way, back in the day, people would brag to their friends and show them the winning scratch ticket where they won such amount of money. Now they take a screenshot of the gambling app and share it on social media. So there's that added bonus of the social media high you get when you make the big win. It's like a fully functional and optimized dopamine factory that makes money on both ends. They're profiting off of you while you watch the gaming live stream, and there's engagement that way. They're obviously profiting off of you for your losses when you use the gambling app, and then they're getting an added amount of engagement from you when you post your wins on social media. And I understand some people are capable of handling these things with responsibility, and they've pretty much just got them in check. But bear in mind, there's plenty of people who are fully susceptible to these things, and it can ruin good people's lives. And I'm doing my best to try and not make this just an anti-gambling video, but I do have a bad taste in my mouth when it comes to gambling due to the amount of money I've lost personally gambling. So now I think it's time for me to tell my personal story of how I've lost tens of thousands of dollars gambling. So around late October of 2021, I lost a full Bitcoin worth of money on the altcoin casino of shitcoins. So I was one of those classic case studies of a person who didn't know when to walk away from the casino. I think I was up about $40,000 and then just kept playing until everything was gone. And that's what they tell you, isn't it? You need to know when to walk away. And what happens is you end up chasing that high of the big win and trying to replicate that feeling. You start to take for granted the fact that you just won $1,000, and it seems like less important. You want to win $100,000. You want to win $1 million. You want to be set for life and buy that Bugatti. Luckily, in my case, it didn't ruin my life financially. I mean, I'm pretty well off right now. I'm happy with where I am. And honestly, I wouldn't change anything because I wouldn't want to not have learned my lesson when I did. And as a result, I just don't go near casinos. I don't touch gambling. I don't have any gambling apps. See, my poison wasn't gambling apps or DraftKings, anything like that. It was just the altcoin casino of crypto when it was sort of a new thing. And it can be addicting, but it's important when to know when to quit. And I suppose as a result, I'll never be a big winner. I'll never achieve that Lambo dream, at least that way. But honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. Around that time, I did have some pretty wild experiences in Vegas, and it was pretty cool. It was a good memory, but it's something that I would never picture myself doing ever again. And quite frankly, the entire atmosphere of gambling just doesn't appeal to me anymore. So the only piece of advice I can really give is learn from my mistake and don't learn the hard way, because there is a certain back of your mind thought, like while I'm driving around, I do still kick myself for being so irresponsible and losing that money. But that's life, isn't it? You've got to celebrate your wins and you've got to cut your losses. I wouldn't refer to myself as ever having been a gambling addict, but one thing that I did notice during that time is that so much of life is designed like a casino. Like social media itself is like a casino, and that sort of casino-ification of life is part of a lot of the things we do in our day-to-day toils. So it's important to know when you're getting into a gambling mentality in any activity you get involved with in all walks of life. So keep in mind that you might see gambling streamers treat losses as jokes, but remember, there's nothing funny about losing money, and it's going to haunt you. Even if it doesn't matter later on, like when you financially recover, it still makes you feel like shit. So keep in mind that it could happen to anyone. I mean, take a look at all the old people lined up at slot machines just feeding money into the casino. It's crazy. And watch out for your friends who you might think have a gambling problem. A huge red flag is if your friend ever says that him putting a quarter into a slot machine is a form of entertainment. About a year and a half ago was my most recent time going to a casino with my buddy, and I watched that poor motherfucker go up like $300, and then he was ensnared by the casino. By the time we left that place, I think he lost about $1,000. And that's what they do. They feed you a win to give you that gambling high, and then once they've got you hooked, they get you to keep playing, and the more you play, the more you lose. I'm personally not a fan of slot machines, especially the digital ones. I mean, I think it'd be kind of cool to play on one of those old-style slot machines that use clockwork internally to determine if you're a winner or not. There's just something that makes me salty about the casino having an algorithm that determines whether I win or lose. That's why those gambling apps never really appealed to me. So in conclusion, be careful with those gambling apps. It used to be something we did occasionally, only when we went to the casino, and now it's just so readily available. So anyways, I hope you have enjoyed my take on the subject. Hope I didn't offend anybody who's a gambler. If you are, best of luck to you. And take a gamble on me by subscribing to the account. I appreciate all the support, you guys. Take care.